call to order the Tuesday, February 19th, 2019 Brooklyn City Board of Education regular meeting. Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal.
Here.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Here.
Mr. Singer.
Here.
Mr. Henning.
Here.
Mr. Open.
Here. Everybody stand. Pledge of allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody. I think we're going to hand off to Dr. Glykoff. It looks like we have student achievement. So
We do, and it looks like we've got some special guests. Tonight is the night we get to highlight all the activities in our pre-K 7 school, and I'm going to invite Mrs. Seco, the principal, to come on up and I think introduce probably some of our friends that are here.
Yes, well, good evening. I'm really excited. I did not shoot a video this time, because I still never got the other one to work right, but Ms. Smith did. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what's going on with a few things, update on a couple things, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Mrs. Smith, our pre-K through 7 guidance counselor, and Mrs. Burr, our 4th through 7th counselor, and the young ladies up here will share some things with you that they're involved in. So what's going on? I wanted to update, our 6th grade girls are participating in a thing with GE, and an IT lady and an engineer from GE are coming to our school a couple times and working with the girls on math and sciences and trying to expose, are any of you a part of that? No, I wasn't sure. Expose them to how to collaborate and get them that exposure, because there's a lot of research out there that shows that girls do not have the early exposure in those areas. They'll go to GE for some trips, just click. Yeah. Here's a couple pictures of them. They were working with making monomers to polymers, and they mixed some different materials together. They're still working there. They also created an alarm for a door, and when they used a bag, like a chip bag clip, and a couple other things, and when you'd open the door would sound an alarm. It was really neat. And there's the example of that. The next thing that we're also starting in our 5th grade is we're going to, myself with Officer Dan have been working with Dr. Glykoff on bringing in Too Good for Drugs. Some people will be familiar with DARE. A lot of schools do DARE, but we looked at some different programs. And we wanted to look at some of the social emotional components that our kiddos go through, as well as some of the things that are out there that they're exposed to, and how do we try to hit the full package. So if you'll see, he's going to do 5-week lessons here starting this week with our 5th graders, and they're going to talk about goal setting, decision making, emotion management, communication, and bonding relationships. And then after testing in April and in May, he's going to go through the safe use of medicine, peer pressure refusal, effects of alcohol, effects of nicotine, and effects of marijuana. So it's been really great to work with Dan at that capacity, and he's really excited to get in and work with our 5th grade team. He's met with them multiple times, and we carved out a 30-minute block for each home room every week for 5 weeks, and then 5 more weeks.
Great.
So I'm going to turn it over now to Mrs. Smith, our pre-K through 3rd grade counselor, and Mrs. Burr.
I'm dragging Mrs. Burr with me. When we were first told or asked to come present, immediately my fear of public speaking kicked in again. So it was only when I looked at Mrs. Burr and I knew these wonderful faces that would be joining us, and some additional faces that you will see in the video that I will present in a little bit, that I realized, you know what, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. This is where we get to show and share what we are most passionate about, why we do what we do, why we're here, and why we're so thankful that Brooklyn City Schools recognizes the need for elementary school counselors, intermediate school counselors, and so forth. So to kind of summarize a little bit of what we do, goodness, I may need you to jump in here, Mrs. Burr. Anywhere from classroom guidance to lunch bunch group, small group, to individual work. Then when needs arise that exceed what we are able to do, then we make referrals to our Guidestone therapist and or our private practice therapist, Ms. Norman, who comes to us through J. Burke and Associates. So we are, again, very fortunate in our Brooklyn City Schools to have those resources right here in-house and to work collaboratively with them. They assist us when we have needs and questions regarding some of our kids and meeting some of their needs. We also do our best to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our families, supporting them with additional resources on the outside if one of our ladies can't assist. We also try to do our best to support our staff. Most recently, we've spent the last 7 to 8 weeks offering an trauma-informed training that we've run consecutively for all staff members to participate, to give them more additional support strategies, ideas to use within the classroom. When we're not doing that, we're maybe facilitating meetings, whether they're intervention assistant teams meetings, 504 meetings, maybe assisting in any crisis that may arise on any given day, and/or both Mrs. Burr and I are part of the Western Cuyahoga County School Crisis Counseling Team. So when there's a district that's in need, that's experienced the loss of a student or the loss of a staff member, we are called in and we readily go to assist in whatever way that we can. I think that kind of summarizes the gist of what we do to the best of our ability. But there's a couple of highlights, and I will turn it over now to Mrs. Burr, who will highlight her couple of items, and I'll be back in a
All
moment.
right, so just some of the classroom lessons I've done so far this year are listed here. Anything from respect to hygiene, bullying, mental health, tolerance, acceptance, empathy. I go into the classroom once a month at every grade level, and we do a lesson, and we talk about it, and you know, it's surprising, because I only go in once a month, but I always go, do you remember what I talked about last time? And they whip it out like that. I was like, wow, you know, they were listening, and they are, you know, really enjoying the lessons, and I think they respond to them well. So I have some of my girls from my Rocks group, if you can go ahead and click, that is called Ruling Our Experiences. So Paula Jones came to me last year and asked if I'd be willing to run a group, and I've done groups throughout the many years, but this one is very focused on girls, which I was like, yes, definitely. Building them self-confidence. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that, so if I can have my girls come up, all right? Yes. I'd like to introduce each one of them. We have Mia Colazo. We have Ava Bayura. You guys in order? Let's go in order. All right.
You switched the whole thing.
Sorry about that. So, that way they can read in order. We have Angelina Whitsett. Then we have Jayla Kaprowski. Then we have Cadence Carpenter, Ava Bayura, and Andrea Guzman. And Mia again. So Rocks reaches girls at a critical time in their lives and development and provides them a safe place to learn the necessary skills they need to be effectively negotiate the challenges of their adolescence. The ultimate goal of Rocks is to positively and purposefully impact the life course of girls to assist them in becoming empowered, confident, and productive young ladies.
Rox is training me to be a leader and a role model. Rox is teaching me that I can stand up for myself and other girls.
Rox is helping me develop courage and awareness because I am strong and work dependent. Rox is helping me to understand what I have in common with other girls, so I can understand their perspective view of challenges and struggles. Rox is providing me with the skills to be assertive in my relationships with family and friends. Rox is giving me the opportunity to work with other girls in a positive and productive way.
Rox is providing me with the skills to be more confident and capable of my abilities.
So this is my 6th grade group, and I have 2 groups going. I have a 5th grade group and a 6th grade group, and we meet twice a week for 30 minutes, and it's an evidence-based program that it's pretty much lined up for me, what I need to do and how I need to present the material to the girls. But they're gonna learn anything from self-defense to I statements, things like that. So we just started the program about a month ago, and they love it. So far, every day when I walk down, do we have it today? Do we have it today? They always are asking. So far so good. We're enjoying our time together, and I have a short video that we can watch. If you guys want to take a seat, we can.
The world is complicated for girls. It's a difficult place for them to develop a strong sense of confidence. Confidence in their bodies, their abilities, their opinions, their opportunities. And ultimately, confidence in themselves. But what if there was an in-depth, evidence-based solution to help girls develop the skills needed to navigate these challenges? to help them learn how to stand up for themselves, handle pressure and conflict, and learn the power of no, stop, I can, I will. This is the power of ROCKS, a different kind of organization with only one mission: to equip girls with the skills to live strong, independent, safe, and courageous lives. ROCKS isn't just a curriculum, it's a movement. ROCKS is empowering thousands of girls and is training parents and educators with programs in schools and communities across the country. Join the movement to help every girl say,
I am a ROCKS girl, and I'm ruling my own experiences
from this generation forward.
So I just wanted to let you know that our teachers were the ones that picked the girls out of, and they know who kind of is in cliques, and they kind of picked one person from every group to represent their clique, as you could say. And it's nice because they're getting to know each other, because some of them were not friends before, but they're getting to know each other in that team building aspect.
Great.
With that said, so in order to best prepare some of these young ladies to be ready, at the elementary level, we use the second step curriculum within our guidance lessons. So I kind of wanted to highlight that, and then how I take that and then form my lunch bunch groups. So we're going to start with just a quick video that kind of explains a little bit about the second step.
Children grow from the inside out, and our second step program helps them become their best selves. Rooted in research-based social-emotional learning, our program helps foster a foundation of empathy. It helps children sort through complicated emotions, manage the strong feelings we all have, make sound decisions, and learn the art of focus. All with a program that's easy for teachers to use and helps them make a difference in kids' lives. We don't just help children become better students, we help them become better people, so they can create a better world.
What I love about the second step program, I've kind of taken what's done in the preschool. They use conscious discipline and take some of the same tools and strategies that they're using there, incorporate it into the second step, which also aligns beautifully with our PBIS program. So we're able to intertwine the whole RISE acronym throughout our lessons. So, is it gonna work? I hope.
It says request access.
We were having some technical difficulties before.
Denise log in as you.
Oh, I need to log in?
Yeah, that would be better.
So want to show, because I want you to see my leader. So we had some third graders that wanted to participate this evening, but they're also going to be our readers on literacy night. So they weren't able to do the 2 nights for us. So the first video is going to highlight basically the skills that are taught within the second step. My third grade leaders, who consist of Mason Samos, Layla Burnett, Evan Barrow, Nathan Gary, Katie Estrella, Calissa Schillinger, and Zalea Zadel. Those are my friends here.
Skills for learning. Empathy, how to calm down, problem solving, fair place to play.
Those are the skills that are the scope and sequence. There's anywhere from 20 to 25 lessons that are prepared K through 3 that I'll go through with each grade level. From that, then I attempt to put together social skills groups, making good choices groups, emotional regulations, feelings, anxiety groups, study skill, and friendship. They can change at any given time, depending again what the teachers say that the needs are. And again, the students are selected, whether it's the teacher making the referral or a parent can call me and saying, hey, my kiddo's struggling with this, and we'll find the right group for them. The leadership group has been working on certain activities, and so just to share a little bit about that, these are the kiddos that exemplify some of the skills from the second step, and they truly are leaders, and in order, again, to prepare them to be young ladies and gentlemen that will be sitting in front of you later, these are some of the activities and things that they've been doing throughout the school year.
This year we have continued the Color Cycle program that was created last year. Not only have we put up the signs, we We went to each classroom. Teacher pre-K to 7 explained our project and provided the supplies as we needed to collect any and all used markers, which we will be counting and shipping to Crayola in our effort to be green.
Just one program was the Color Cycle program they're doing.
Our annual Pastas for Penny campaign by counting and passing out supplies for another successful campaign.
Which again was a huge success, over $4,000 raised in our Pasta for Pennies campaign.
We wrote holiday cards for all staff from pre-K through 7 this past holiday season.
Again, showing that empathy and compassion for all.
We wrote holiday cards for all. Most recently, we have made attempts to make for a more inclusive cafeteria by sitting and engaging with all peers.
One more.
Most recently,
Not that one.
and this coming Thursday, we will be your greeters at this year's Literacy Night event. We will be passing out flyers, offering directions, and manning a book swap table, so please come join us.
So that's their nice way of saying, please come out Thursday night, 5:30 to 8. And with that said, again, the same with Mrs. Burr, our kiddos enjoy those groups. They enjoy the lessons. It is very evident when you come in and you ask them about any of the skills that they're learning, they're able to give it back to you in verbatim. So it's been a pleasure and it's an honor to be able to have the opportunity to do that. So thank you.
Great job. Good job.
Any
Perfect.
questions?
Anybody? Mrs. Smith, did you say you were feared public speaking? I think you did pretty well, to be quite honest. I didn't notice it. I thought you felt pretty comfortable. You did well. You did
I
well.
think when you think of, elementary age and intermediate age students, you think, well, they're just involved just in the classroom. But I think what you saw tonight is all the things that they're involved in beyond that. And that's just the start of it. So I think it's exciting to see that, and I appreciate it. To you girls, though, I think I'm just going to say you girls rock. And I'm going to tell you what I tell my two daughters, because I have two young ladies at home. You can do anything. And know that you have no ceiling. Nothing, everything's in front of you. And as I look around at the six of you, I know that's the possibility. So realize that you've got, the sky's the limit. And so, you girls rock, keep it up. Thanks for coming tonight and sharing that.
Great job.
Really good stuff. I mean, the GE girls, there was even a Cleveland.com article that was on there. I don't know if you saw it. If you follow me on Twitter, you've got that. That's just a little shameless plug. But also, the work with Officer Dan, we're excited about that. He's going to be going right into those 5th grade classes and doing a lot of DARE-like stuff. So good things happening down in the Brooklyn schools. So thanks, everybody, for sharing that.
Great job.
Thanks for coming tonight.
Appreciate it.
And Literacy Night, 2 nights.
Thursday
All right.
night.
It's going to be a big night. So,
We've expanded to 7th grade this year, so we're pre-K through 7.
Awesome. This is the part of the meeting where it gets a little boring, so if you guys,
yeah, we will not be upset if you guys leave.
we don't get offended. We're used to it. Next, we're going to go on to comments from visitors. In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation as it pertains to the school-related topics will be permitted at each meeting. Each person wishing to address the board will approach the podium and state his/her name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person will be allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had an opportunity to do so, or the opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board. Anybody? Okay. We're going to the superintendent's report. Dr. Glykoff.
All right. Thank you. I've got a couple of quick things tonight, but really the main thing that I wanted to talk about tonight was one of the things that's on the agenda this evening, and that is the Brooklyn City School Strategic Plan. I just wanted to take a couple of moments to talk about it, share a little bit with that, but really I'm speaking also, or singing to the choir here, because I know all of you were involved in this. The process, just to kind of reiterate. This actually started over a year ago, when we had a large group meeting in the high school in January. That then brought us to a particular community feedback, or task force meeting that we had in February of last year. And then since then, in breaking off, we've had a lot of focus area groups. Those groups have been meeting. The people. Actually went through, over 80 people have been involved in this process. From, and I'm not gonna read all the names, but I've got 3 pages of names here. From folks, board members, administrators, teachers, classified staff members, community members, city council, the mayor was involved, students, and I want to note that there were several students who were also involved and still involved in some of the different groups. So I want to acknowledge all the people that were involved in this. So 80 is a pretty significant number when you think about a district our size. So I want to thank all these people for all their work. The plan itself. This group did a lot of heavy lifting in terms of coming up with a mission, a vision, belief statements, the focus areas. Those first few meetings, there was a lot of heavy lifting, you know, when we went through this. So I appreciate that, and I'm just going to kind of go through it quickly with you. You know, the vision, shared this. We've put it on. We've talked a little bit about this with the staff, the Brooklyn school staff last Tuesday. I did kind of a mid-year address and talked about this vision, but also spoke and articulated it. What does it actually look like? And so I think that's important, as well as then our mission there, trying to really synthesize that. The beliefs. This was a lot of the heavy lifting from that task force meeting that we had last February. I think a couple of things, I'm not going to go through each and every one. Second bullet down, believing in open, honest, consistent communication. That was something that really came out, and I think we've tried to make that an emphasis of our work here on the board as well as administrators, but I think across the district. And so I think that's a good highlight. One that I'm particularly very keen of is fifth one down there in terms of high expectations. We want to have high expectations for everybody. Myself, you know, the Board of Education, teachers, students, etc. That's something that we feel very, very strongly about. So I think that's something significant there. As well as then almost near the end there, and a consistent, clearly defined direction. You know, talking about our mission and vision and where we're going. And so really articulating that. Areas of focus, each of you have been shepherding that and being a part of that, and we appreciate your efforts and your contributions to that as well. As we go through the focus areas, teaching and learning, Mrs. Kalish, Mr. Wingler have been a part of that. Really that goal there has been focused on increasing student achievement with a lot of the strategies that have been underneath there. You're going to notice really looking at how we improve our instructional process and the things that we do in the classroom each and every day. So that good work on this. In terms of communication, which was Mrs. Seco and Mr. Smith, really developing and maintaining communication processes, you know, to try to build those relationships. And so you'll notice a lot of the strategies there are try to really keep open, honest, transparent communication across the district, internally and externally. And so that's some of the main emphasis there. And some of the different, you know, things that we use to communicate. Safety and discipline. Mrs. Jones, Mr. Hare have been kind of the co-administrators on this one. This came out strong and loud and clear with our task force and the initial groups, having a safe and a secure and a positive environment for everybody. And so their strategies really work around that whole idea. School and community pride, Mr. Verba and Mrs. Smith have been that. This one really works on a couple of different levels. Trying to get students involved. you know, we've talked a lot about Brooklyn Pride, Hurricane Pride. What is that? What's that look like? We want kids to be involved in school. We want them to be outside, like these young ladies here, GE girls, being involved in whether it's Power of the Pen, those types of things, and fostering that early on in their career so that they really continue to become a part of what it is to me to be a Brooklyn Hurricane. And then trying to continue to do that, but also linking with the community on that. And then finance and facilities, which is really a tough one because you kind of have to cobble the two together. Mr. Hoskin and Mrs. Neal have been the two administrators on that one. Certainly there's a finance goal and then also a facilities goal with those. And again, obviously finances has been a big focus of ours here over the last several years and will continue to be so, and certainly with facilities. You know, as we look at these goals and we look at all of them, we want these committees to be fluid, meaning that once these strategies, once these goals and strategies are achieved, they're now looking at new ones, and they're starting to develop that. So we really want these committees to meet multiple times over the course of a year to really continue to vet, are we doing what we said we're going to do? And then if we have, what's that next step? So it'll really be an engaged process for our staff, for our administration, and for our community. So this evening on the board agenda, we look to have your official Board of Education approval with that. I appreciate your efforts, you know, involved in that. But I'll field any questions you may have with regards to the strategic plan.
I just think it's been a good thing going forward.
I think it's given us a direction. I think it's given us some ideas of things we want to achieve as we move forward. So, obviously, this coming Saturday, support our schools. Big spaghetti dinner coming up. Big event. I've got a ticket to sell if anybody else is looking for it. So, if anybody, but big night. We've got student musical entertainment. Some of the musicians from the upcoming Willy Wonka musical will be there. We'll also have some of our other musicians there. We're gonna have a student art show, raffle baskets. But I look at this night as a night. It's really good to just celebrate what's great about our Brooklyn kids and our schools. So, hopefully, we can get as many folks there as possible for it. And the other thing is, a week from tonight, we'll be having our finance forum. First one, we'll be having that in the auditorium. That is going to be an opportunity for me to go into in-depth a little bit about where we are in terms of the school district, finances, the need for the levy, and talk a little bit about that. So we're hoping that we can get as many folks as out as possible on that as well. But that'll be 6 o'clock. Really be done by 7 as there's a music booster meeting after that. So those were my two kind of announcements as we move on. So that concludes my report.
Appreciate it. Anybody? Questions? Good. We're going to go on to the treasurer's report, Mr. Hoskins.
Normally I sit in my seat and I just say what's going on, but I decided today I'd ruin Mark's day and come up with a discussion about community school and open enrollment funding. I've heard that there's been some discussion on social media about how community schools are funded and what that really means to the district. So if you bear with me for the next few minutes, I'm gonna go with the bad news first. So if this is an example of our foundation funding. We receive funding twice a month, and this is the summary for the first one in February. We don't have the second one yet. It's due Friday. But there's a calculated funding column and then the state funding column. And you know, we've talked about the cap. We're on the cap. What does that mean to be on the cap? Well, the cap is this dollar amount as opposed to what it's supposed to be. So in the opportunity grant, you can see we should be funded at $2.1 million, and we're only funded at $545,000. So the state has a formula. It's based on a dollar amount per student of $6,020, but because we raise enough money locally, We don't get that much. Our state share is only 29%. And then the cap is only 25% of that 29%. So that's how we get to that dollar amount. So I'm gonna review the things that are highlighted in yellow and compare that to open enrollment and community school transfers. Everybody with me so far? Okay. So on the other page, and the reason I showed you that page is because there's a whole lot of things on there, but I'm breaking it down here. And I'm taking the things out of that page that are not part of community school or open enrollment transfers. So the bottom line is, we should get $2.35 million, and we're getting $606,000. Okay? Simple enough. Until we actually find out what the transfers are. This is as of January 28th of this year. The data we submit through EMIS is where the state develops how much, put that into the funding formula, and that determines how much we receive as a district. And I have back on there, that, remember, this is the capped amount, so keep that in mind. So the opportunity grant, that's the $6,020. The other stuff is added on to that based on the needs of the students or the economics or whatever it happens to be with the individual students. So our FTE, that's full-time equivalency, we have 1,241.75 students. I don't know who the 7.75 is, but it's because of withdrawals and enrollments throughout the year. So right now, we're about 1,250, 1,241.75 is actual. Our funding for that is $545,000. Our per pupil amount, remember, it's supposed to be $6,020. We get $438.99 for those 1,241 students. Community schools, there are 61.81 of those. Their total funding is $372,000 because they get $6,020, even though we get $438.99. So that leaves us with 1,180 kids, basically, with $173,000 for a total per student of $146.64. That's just with the community school transfer. Then we take open enrollment out. There's 28.14 kids going out open enrollment. $169,000 is what the districts get from us in a transfer.
What's the difference between the community schools and the open enrollment out?
An open enrollment out is a student or family who decides that they want to go to another district, another public school, although community schools are public schools, but they chose to go to Cleveland and Barberton. We have only two place districts that they go to. In a district that I was in prior, Cuyahoga Falls, we were a suburb of Akron. We had open enrollment. A lot of families that lived close to us, because we don't transport those students, decided they wanted to come to Cuyahoga Falls instead of going to Akron. That's open. The decision is made that they go there. When you go to community school, you enroll in Opportunity School, or you enroll in online Ohio Virtual Online, or some of those schools. So it's a decision that you make that you're going to take all your classes at that school, and the other one is an open enrollment choice. So they are kind of two different things. One is a district and one is a community school, an individual school. Our open enrollment out, again, is $6,020. So that leaves us with 1,151.8 students that are in our building. We get a total of $3,617 for those 1,151.8 kids, or $3.14 each. That is annually. It's an annual figure.
David, so you're saying that for every child that lives in Brooklyn that goes to a community school, out of our budget, they take $6,000
Yes. We get that, they take that.
And the same thing goes for the open enrollment. If we have a child that lives in Brooklyn and decides to go to an open enrolled school, we're paying that school $6,000 also.
Yes, that's correct.
And do you know offhand how many children are going from Brooklyn to?
Those are the actual numbers.
Oh, right there, 28 of them?
Well, I mean,
Open enrollment,
28.14.
6181 for community school.
He's asking numbers. There can't be
Do-
28 point, there, we
Well,
don't have a
28 or
4.14
62.
kid.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
What is
It's
the
just-
number is what he's asking.
Those are
28
the
kids,
28 and
28
61.
kids. Wow.
and almost 62.
So
Add them
89.
together, you got 95 there, that's a whole FTE.
That's a lot of money.
You think?
Remember, we started out with $545,000. We ended up with $3,600. So when Mark,
Did you say there was good news coming along there
Yeah.
somewhere? Okay.
yeah, after my presentation. But that's the opportunity grant, that's the 6,000. Now there's other things, I had other things highlighted, there's 5 categories. So I'm gonna summarize that. 7.24% of Brooklyn's resident students attend community school or open enrollment. Only 7.24%. The state transfers $6,020 for each student. So 93.36% of our funding for Opportunity Grant is transferred out for 7.24% of the kids. So, to recap, $3.14 per student. That's why I did not make Mark's day today.
And that's the opportunity grant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not making my day either.
So, we also get literacy funding. We have our K-3 literacy. So we have 347 students in grades K to 3. We get $16,000, almost $16,500 total funding for those students, which is $47.51 a student. The 21.61 kids that go to community schools in the same grade levels get $320 per kid, transferred out.
We get $3.
We get $47.51,
This is a different
they take
funding.
$320.
Yeah, for the literacy.
So that
I
leaves us with
gotcha.
325 kids, $9,500, or $29.41 per kid. They get 320, we get $29.41. That stays here in these buildings. Economic disadvantage. We have 590.6. It's about 49% of our students are economically disadvantaged. Our total funding for that is $40,530, or 68.63 cents per student. Community schools, there's 20.8 kids that are economically disadvantaged of going to community schools. They get $237.56 for each of their students out of our funding, which leaves 569.8 students here in Brooklyn, $35,589.22, or $62.46. So 4 times 6, 3 times 6, 18, 3.5 times as much goes out as we get for economically disadvantaged students. Limited English proficient. I love this one. There's only 14.62 kids. $102.36 a piece, or $1,496.49 in total. 2.1 going out. They get $568 for each one of those kids. For a total of $1,192.80. That leaves us with 12.52 kids receiving $303, or 24.246, or 24.26 cents each, the ones that are remaining here. So we can spend $300 and help these students who have limited English kind of adjust and learn in the environment, but they're living in an environment where they're not speaking English at home and they're struggling. But we can spend that $303 really fast. Career Tech funding, this was the one that just, I thought I made a mistake. I kept looking at the numbers, and Mark and I talked about it. We are in a joint vocational district. So our kids go to Polaris, and that's all funded. They have a levy, and they have millage, and they get a share of the money. But there are 4.64 students who are attending schools that are not part of Polaris, schools where they are receiving career tech education. So they get funded for that. They get funded at Tier 3 level, which is $1,794, $5 per student, for a total of $8,328.80. But from the state, we only get $28,29.74. So we lose. I can't even do a math on that. 'Cause 0 divided by anything is going to be 0, but we lose $5,500.
So we owe them? We're already
They
in the
take
hole?
it out of our
They
fund.
just take them.
I know. We should be mad. You should be disgusted.
What career tech programs are they offering at community schools?
It just might be a class, or it may be where they're going is a career.
Did you tell me Invictus was?
Invictus and
gonna say-
Old Brooklyn, and there's one other one, I can't remember what it was.
Old Brooklyns an elementary school, so what classes are they having that constitutes career tech?
It's that,
No, it's a high school,
it's Old Brooklyn High School.
and I'm not sure that it's called Old Brooklyn, it's on Pearl Road.
It's a Pearl Academy?
No, it's called Old Brook,
Is it?
Old-
It is a high school.
Old Brooklyn High School.
We looked it up today, it is a high school.
Yeah. It's on the foundation.
Because there's an Old Brooklyn community school, but that's an elementary school.
It is a community school, but this one says Old Brooklyn High School on
I
it.
was just gonna say, how is anything in the elementary considered career tech? You know,
Yeah.
I'm saying, I don't think third
It's
grades
not
do
that-
career tech.
Yeah, it's a high school though. So, we lose $5,500 on it. It just doesn't, I mean, we've seen where they fund us, and they don't fund us fully, what everybody else is getting, but here.
They don't fund us at all.
They're not funding us at all.
We're funding them.
And they're taking that money. So, the total base funding, those 5 categories I've added in here. We have 1,241.75 students, that's our first number, it's an opportunity grant, for a total of 606, that was on the third slide, for a total of $488.39. Community schools are 6181, they get $393,474.34 of total funding, or $6,365.87 per student. Open enrollment, they get $6,020 for a total of $169,402.80. So the students that are left in Brooklyn that we are educating here in this district, 1,151.80, receives $583.80 annually, or $37.84 per student.
And this was the state's bright idea, right?
Yeah.
This is,
It's one of them.
now, and I'm not saying that Brooklyn is an anomaly, because all school districts have deductions for, not all of them have open enrollment, but most all of them have community school deductions.
But when you're capped like us, it
But-
kind of,
And because
Cuts
we're
our
considered
funding.
a wealthy district, because of our property values are so high compared to our total enrollment, our state share is so low, and the cap brings it down even more. So summarizing that, 92.81% of our K-12 base funding, opportunity grant, K-3 literacy, economic disadvantage, limited English proficient, and career tech funding is transferred to community schools and other districts. 92.81%. Annual net funding received after transfers is $43,000.
$37 a
Or
kid.
$37.84 each.
to teach these kids.
Each.
Dave?
This is depressing.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, and might include Dr. Mark as well. So a school district legally, technically, can set up their own charter community schools, correct? Doesn't Cleveland have
Yeah.
district
Yes. You have
sponsored
Lakewood.
charters?
Mhm.
No,
So-
it should be,
So what's to stop
Yeah,
us?
that wasn't our, I mean.
What's
yeah,
to
we
stop
sponsored
us
it.
from closing Brooklyn schools and just setting up Brooklyn charter schools?
Yeah, we get more money.
Michelle and I are laughing at that because when I was in Newberry, Michelle was in Newberry after I left, but we had a neighboring district, Berkshire, who had open enrollment, and we had open enrollment. And I joked around with the treasurer. I said, "Why don't you open enroll all your kids, and we'll open enroll all your you open enroll all of ours, we'll open enroll all yours, and then we'll all get fully funded."
Yeah. Great
That's one
idea.
way of sticking it to the state.
About opening a charter school.
What would stop us from doing that? I don't know. But I don't know that, I don't know how they would do that if that's what we did.
Once again, I want to say and make it clear with all of this like statements here, the charter schools are not our enemy. They are not. The charter schools are not our problem. They are not our enemy. We're gonna say this again. Our problem is with the state.
Right.
It is not with the charter schools. They don't get to decide how much of our money they take. They
And
have
I'm
no
not-
choice in the matter. Our problem has been and always will be until it is corrected with the state of Ohio and how they fund schools.
And I'm not advocating that.
No,
that
but I'm
is-
just saying that I'm making that very clear because there was some.
All I'm
Discord
wanting to
on
point out is that there's a funding disparity.
Per the choice of the state, not per Brooklyn's choice and not per
No,
community
no.
schools
The way
or
the
open enrollment.
funding works is, as I just went through all the slides, and I'm not, it's not an indictment on those districts or on those, there are districts who are making money, I live in one, but from a neighboring school district. We've heard about districts who open enroll too many, or at least what the state determined was too many. And you know, if you do open enrollment right and you fill the slots, that's great because you're bringing money in. But you're bringing more money in than you're actually getting from the state. So that's the disparity there, is that we get this much and they get that much. And I'm not saying that they're not doing a good job. I'm just saying that this is the reality that we face, is that they get fully funded and we do not. And they get fully funded from us, and not just Brooklyn, but every district, every local district.
I would agree, the funding model and how they do it is what has been band-aided together.
Disaster.
You probably have heard me or David or John or Todd or whoever was the treasurer talk about the fact of direct funding to charter or community schools. And that's one of the things that the state is talking about, as opposed to this model, which is bring it to the public and then sweep it from them in this model. So that's one of the things that the state talks about is, well, let's come up with a direct funding model to the charter and community schools. Now again, I want to see it I'll believe it when I see it, and what it looks like, and what that will do to our funding. But the model that currently is that we get it, and then it goes off to those different schools, but it goes to them at that high $6,000 rate, which obviously there's a huge difference between that rate and what we're actually getting per pupil.
Yes.
I think the other thing that is of note in that SFPF, which is basically this long little sheet that David described, is there's a line in there that talks about Ed Choice scholarships. So you remember when I spoke about that last month. So let's compound this even more. Let's just imagine for a moment that our school district was not performing well on our report card. We would have perhaps another deduction that could be in there as well. When students could actually say, well, I want to go to this school, those dollars would now be funneled from us going someplace else. So thankfully, we will not have that deduction. So, I mean, that was something, as I was looking at it with David today, and he wasn't making my day, it was like, wow, that could even have been even worse, or could be potentially worse.
What do you have
in
to
the
do
future.
in order to be an Ed Choice school?
Your scores have to not be up to a particular level. They have a kind of a quotient there. That you put all the 6 metrics on the report card, you put them together. And if they don't add up to like 1 with all the multipliers, then that, ours is like above 2.
And it's over a period of, is it 3 consecutive years?
Yeah.
That you have to get that number?
So-
But there are, Dr. Blackhawk said that there are 10 in first rank that are.
I would expect there to be more. I actually was speaking with somebody over the weekend who lives in Parma and has already planned out which Parma high school their child's gonna attend so that they can get the ed choice to go then to another school.
There's some
Yeah.
dramatics going on with that.
Yeah,
Since
they're
I
picking-
shared that with you last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know we've put out some figures that are higher than this per student, but that also includes preschool transportation, graduation, special education, and the third grade reading guarantee bonus. So those are all part of the total funding, but I wanted, those don't affect transfers out for community schools. So I just wanted to compare apples to apples. The 5 categories that community schools receive funding for. They do receive funding for special education, but special education is not capped. So if they're on a category, a multiplier, they get that. So I didn't delve into that one. There are 3 schools getting special ed funding, community schools. But for the basic, fundamental K-12 funding, we get $3.14 on the opportunity grant and $37.84 each annually for the rest of the funding particulars categories. Any questions on that? I know it's really hard to grasp, and it's a lot of numbers, and we had a lot of discussion about it today when I brought it to Dr. Glykoff and said, I wanted to talk about that. We discussed it before because I'd heard some rumblings about on social media about community schools and that kind of stuff. So I just want to clarify for our district what that means. Any questions or comments or anything?
I have an additional comment. Just curious, because now that we recognize where the deficiencies are, the people who can make the difference, obviously, are the state legislators and the governor's office. So do they have a copy of this here?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they do. They have the state funding.
I know.
But not.
Do they have it encapsulated and presented the way you did?
No.
Okay, which was, I think, very eye-opening. I think sending this out to all the state legislators in the state of Ohio in a condensed format that they can understand and appreciate, maybe 1 page, 2 pages. The numbers speak for themselves.
They do.
And then, maybe just cap it out with something from Dr. Mark and say, do you consider this fair funding? You'll get probably some kind of reaction, good and bad, but I think, who's gonna argue with you that your numbers are correct?
I'm just repurposing their numbers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
All right, the second thing, anyone else before I move on? Everybody awake? Wanted to share this with the board and the audience. This is an Auditor States Award. It was presented to the Brooklyn City School District for excellent in finance reporting in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, and compliance with applicable laws for fiscal year ending 2018. The citizens you represent are well served by your effective and accountable financial practices. Signed, Keith Faber, Auditor of State. So this award presented to the district, but it's a result of the dedicated professional work of Mara and Anita in my office. I wasn't here. I finished up the audit part of it, but and the administrators and staff at Brooklyn Schools, because without them, we can't do our jobs and be the watchdogs of public dollars, and that's what we do. That's my primary responsibility. I am the gatekeeper of the funds, and to be recognized by the auditor's office for our financial, the integrity of our financial reporting, I think is a great testament to my staff, and I appreciate everything that they've done, and we're looking forward to receiving these awards every year. And it's also, when we talk about levies and we talk about money, and this is an outside independent, two outside independent agencies. One converts the data. There's an agenda item to continue to do that tonight, and then there is the independent auditors who go through the work that the LGS has done. But they're looking at our financial statements, and they are recognizing that we are doing, we have control over our funds, and that we are representing citizens very well. So I just wanted to share that one with you tonight, because
Thank you.
this is really a testament to the fact that we know what's going on, and we take pride in what we do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mara,
Thanks,
thank
Dave.
you, good job. Anita, can I see you? John Street? All that. Thanks, Mr. Hoskins. Next, we're gonna want to comments from board members, board committee reports. First one's gonna be Mr. Singer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, we had a Finance Committee meeting, reviewed the updates for the 5-year forecast, and cemented the need for passage of this levy in May. Not passing this levy, in my opinion, will cause great stress in our school system and could put us in dire emergency as far as financing. Put a halt to our continued progress, as outlined by Dr. Mark Glykoff. Not having funds earmarked for capital improvements also hurts us, as we recently experienced with our antiquated phone systems breaking down. We need, as a community, to find ways to provide for funding for our projects that improve or maintain our physical plants and property. Just a side note, it's obvious that we're not going to get that money from the state. This board and our administration continue to find ways to save our district money and spend it judiciously. Anyone with recommendations is welcome to share those with us. We always love to hear from the community as far as ways to save money. I'm glad to report that once again, we passed our independent audit with no material findings. And congratulations again to Dave and your staff, and to some of our past treasurers for the fact that we have clear audit findings that some districts don't have the luxury of having. And also implementing some of the recommendations that our board and treasurer do plan on implementing. So kudos again to Dave Hoskins and his crew, who continue to find ways to save our district money and even enhance our revenues by investing our account cash balances to gain a little bit of interest. We continue to save money on transportation. As projections show, we are spending less on student transportation in earlier years. Again, it's the board administrative decision. We're spending too much on transportation and not getting our bang for our buck. I am encouraged by Dr. Glykoff and his team here at Brooklyn for his new BCS strategy action plan for making Brooklyn schools the school of choice for all Brooklyn residents. The 5 areas of concentration: focused plans for teaching and learning, improved communications, better safety and discipline policies, a catch-on-fire attitude for school and community pride, and last but not least, continued improvements in financial reporting, enhancing revenue, along with a comprehensive plan for facilities management schedules and plans. With that, I hope to see all of you this weekend on Saturday at Supporter School Spaghetti Dinner from 4 to 7 at our Brooklyn High School. I put down auditorium, not the auditorium, the cafeteria. We do need your support and appetite for some of our students' best spaghetti in town. Don't forget to bring some cash to bid on some of the best raffle baskets around too, in 50/50. Thanks to our organizers, Mrs. Pam Verchio and Mrs. Kathy Flanagan, for chairing this project. See you all on February 26th for the financial forum at 6 p.m. here at the high school auditorium. Purpose is to adequately explain the levy, the need for it, how much it will cost the average taxpayer, and address any concerns that this has on impacting our curriculum activities. Please take a few minutes of your time to attend. And I sincerely hope, again, as a sidebar, that this last presentation by our treasurer is included in that presentation. Finally, I ask all parents to note the dates of the primary and the levy and ensure that they are registered to vote. If you want to vote and you're not sure if you're properly registered, please call me at 216-978-1931 or email me at rick.singer@bhshurricanes.org. I'll be glad to help you to register. I can take you downtown if you have some issues with your voting, where to vote, or obtain a mail-in-a-ballot form. Your vote does count, and it's important to send a message to our students that voting is a right and privilege not to be ignored or wasted. In a report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Singer. On to Mr. Hennings.
Thank you, Mr. President. First off, I'd like to comment on and agree with what Mrs. Barczyk said. At no time has this board or myself advocated for closing down any of these charter schools or Constellation schools. These schools were set up for the kids that go to it for reasons, and that's really none of our business. But what is the business is the funding. And I definitely will advocate now and forevermore, as long as I live in this city, and that how the state funds this is wrong. They're taking our funding and giving it to the charter schools and the Constellation schools. And to be honest with you, Brooklyn is becoming a semi-private school funded by the residents and residents alone. So I want to make sure everyone knows that no one has ever advocated for closing those schools down. And at this point, I thank Mayor Gallagher and her administration for all the businesses they've been able to bring in over the last year, because we're definitely going to be looking to for those businesses to prosper. And so on with my report, I had a meeting with Dr. Glykoff and Sandy Neal for the building and grounds. They explained to me the maintenance plan that they're working around. I concur with their maintenance plan and how they plan on saving the district money. I want to thank Dr. Glykoff for getting Mr. Lorenzo to jump on the auditorium so quick. I was in there today, and wow, he's already plastering up the areas that have looked old. So thank you for that one. We had a Power of the Pen winner, didn't we?
We actually had two.
Two.
Brianna?
We had a 7th grader and an 8th grader both qualify.
And who were they? Do you remember?
Brianna was our
8th grader.
8th grader, and I got the name here someplace, but
Well, congratulations to both of the Power of the Pen winners. It's great that they can get that done. Also, congratulations to the hockey team. They're 3-peat, 3 years in a row. They are the Blue South Division champs. They gave me a shirt for it, so I thought I'd show them off for them. Congratulations to the hockey team. Our middle school 8th grade boys basketball team took second in their division, and from what I'm hearing, the 8th grade girls are like 11-1 right now, so they're looking at their championship team. Also, Seth, he was also the PAC champion, and what else was he? Who else was there? Carl Ramser took third. So congratulations to those. Now they go on to what, districts?
No, sectionals.
Sectionals, and when are those?
That's everybody plays Saturday.
Okay, so and where are they wrestling at Saturday? Okay, good. Well, we'll have to get out there at some point. So congratulations to all of them. We do have our spaghetti dinner going on this week. Please, if you have a basket you'd like to donate, we'll gladly accept it and get the most out of it. If you haven't had a chance to register to vote, I'm sure Mrs. Pucci will be up here registering anybody. If you have a child at home that's 18, well, no longer a child, but if he hasn't registered to vote, please bring him up to vote while he's having spaghetti, him or her. Willy Wonka, it's coming along fine. I'm in there every day helping out with the stage crew. The stage is looking, as usual, fantastic. Mr. Casper does a great job with the stage crew. And Mrs. Cipriani she has the patience of, God, 100 kids roaming around back there talking, and she's just rolling right on. I like to thank everybody for coming to the Night at the Races. It takes a lot to put a Night at the Races on. I'd like to thank my board members for showing up and volunteering some of their money. I know you won something good. I won nothing. I lose every year.
Worked hard. You worked hard.
You
You're
know.
good.
Yeah,
You
I
won a
know.
lot when you worked hard.
Just a few of the people that I'd like to thank who really donated heavily. McMahon's Wrecking, thank you for the donations you made. Mayor Gallagher, thank you for your donations also. The Hooley House and Mary Bell Beer for the handmade 500 pierogies that you donated. I can't tell you how much the boosters appreciated that. Our basket, the board had a basket. We made $320 on our basket, and we donated that to the PTA so they had enough money for their scholarship. So, and Rocky, you donated a basket to the post prom. So, I can tell you, everybody made out good. Especially the girl who won the last race and the 50-50. That was $1,400 she won, both. So she made, and she was an alumni too. She graduated just a few years ago. God bless her. Officer Dan, if anyone knows, if you don't know who Officer Dan is, his fundraiser is coming up this weekend, and it's Plunge in Lake Erie. So if anybody wants to help him, we may have to throw him in the lake, but his fundraiser is always for a good cause. Also, as always, if anyone is interested in being involved in the PTA, the post-prom committee, the music boosters, or the athletic boosters, please, they always need people to get involved. As these kids graduate, the parents, they move on, and we lose very good parents. So please, if you want to be involved and be inside the school and you want to watch your kid accomplish things, it's the best way of doing it. You're being involved. I can't think of a better thing. I've been involved in so many of the groups. I was able to watch Ian and Logan prosper here. That's all I've got to say, and thank you very much.
You got it, Bob. Thanks. On to Mrs. Barczyk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I must apologize. I have the worst luck when it comes to our regular scheduled board meetings, and this has been a very rough winter for me. I am once again sick. Thanks, Bob. Way to make a girl feel welcome. So this is gonna be very short. I would like to extend my congratulations to the hockey team and congratulate the kids and wish them best luck on Willy Wonka and our sports athletes. And I want to commend all the kids that are working hard in the classroom, because I don't want them to ever feel like they are forgotten and they're not spotlighted the way that they should be. So with that being said, I did meet with our curriculum committee and Dr. Glykoff, and I met Michelle. Thank you so much for your presentation. I really did. It was really informative. Thank you. It did explain a lot. And I think that part really kind of gives me confidence. And I don't have a lot of faith that the state is going to turn anything around and start funding us correctly overnight. But as I said before, the charter schools are not our enemy. And if we're doing what we need to be doing here, we'll have our students staying here more. And you can only do what you can do here. And the more we make Brooklyn a school of choice, and we keep moving forward and we are making these gains, I think it's a positive for us. But again, like I said, I think the state needs to really look at the funding, but we've been singing this song. I've been on the board now almost 10 years, and we've been singing this song for a decade. So until the state decides that they want to fund us fairly, we're going to be in the same boat that we are in now and coming to the residents to help fund our schools, unfortunately. I can always be reached at 216-406-4304. Sorry for my short report. Thank you, Mr. President.
You got it. On to Mr. Oper.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank the ROCS program. That's great, especially in today's environment with, empowering women. It's all the more crucial. As usual, every February, excuse me, we didn't have a players meeting. However, there's still a lot going on. Construction continues to go forward. The second and third floors are completely renovated. Construction efforts are currently focused on the new customer service area, which will house the restaurant, the bakery, and the salon. Earlier this month, Polaris officially opened up the new cafe and kitchen, which houses the deli and food production program and serves the needs of the high school and adult education and staff. As the newly renovated retail spaces are rolled out, excuse me, each area is going to be renamed and rebranded, and the restaurant, bakery, and salon will be scheduled to be completed by April and will be open for business in the fall. Business Professionals of America is the leading career technical student organization for students pursuing careers in business management, IT, office administration, and other career fields. BPA has 43,000 members in over 2,300 chapters in 23 states. The Ohio chapter has 8,700 members in 19 regions. Dozens of students from area schools took part in this year's regional competition. 39 Polaris students qualified to compete at the state level on March 14th and 15th, and Brooklyn students that are going to state are Jessica Jeselanis, who finished second in banking and finance, and she also finished second in small business management team. Halima Hudson, who placed first in the economic research team. Akira Walker, who placed first in office systems and procedures and second in small business management team, and Marcello Caroselia, who finished second in prepared speech. Polaris is also launching two new senior-only programs next year. Excuse me. State-tested nursing assistant, STNA, and nail technicians. STNA positions are typically among the fastest-growing jobs in any industry and serve as a great entry point into the healthcare field. Nail technicians is one of the most fastest-growing specialties in the world of cosmetology. Both programs will be taught in newly renovated labs featuring the latest equipment, techniques, and technology. Each are considered 12-point industry-recognized credentials and can be applied towards the alternative pathway in graduation. Polaris is also, pages of order here. Polaris is also hosting Career Tech Thursdays for sophomores who are interested in enrolling in a Polaris program but need more time to make a decision. The students that participate will spend a half a day in the program or programs, a maximum of 2. Visits can be arranged through the high school counselor's office, and the upcoming dates are this Thursday and the following 4 Thursdays, the 28th, March 7th, 14th, and 21st. I also have a little dissertation on funding and charter schools and community schools. I met with Dr. Gleikoff last week as one of my board committee assignments on the area legislation. With the new administration, Columbus beginning work, there's a lot of items that they wish to address. The graduation requirements for this year are held over from last year, and so far for going forward, there's a lot of sentiment for giving districts leeway in determining what pathways can be used for requirements rather than a one-size-fits-all. Dr. Gleikoff has been in touch with our new legislative representatives, and all are sympathetic to Brooklyn's unique position as far as being a cap district and what could be done to change that. I swear I read this before all this stuff going on tonight. The Cup-Patterson School Funding Task Force is beginning its research trying to live with a funding formula that the schools can live with. As has been stated over and over again tonight, Dr. Gleikoff and we on the board have been pointing out the inequities for years now, and I plan on getting more involved in what can be done on the grassroots level, especially with the recent news about charter community schools. Stanford University researchers came out with a report today saying that despite all the recent debate and scandals that the charter schools and community schools can teach better, comparing Ohio charters and community schools today to 10 years ago and to 4 years ago, there's little or no progress being made. Charters and community schools have made progress in helping students learn to read over time, but they did worse in math and fell further behind in that category. It's just an example of that. I'd also like to congratulate everybody for putting time and effort into strategic planning that shows a clear and concise path for moving forward. It's something we've desperately needed, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody Saturday night at spaghetti dinner. I can be reached at james.oper@bcshurricanes.org or at 216-485-8195. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Oper. Again, I would just like to congratulate the hockey team. Had an enjoyable night at the races. The Rocks girls were wonderful. I think there's a lot of great things going on there. There's a lot of great things going on in this whole school district. There really are. Once you stop and take a really good look and peel back the onion, there's a lot of good things. The thing we gotta fight is the financing. You know, it's a fight that we've been fighting, you know, again, I've been on the board 10 years. It's been a fight for 10+ years. So we just gotta keep fighting in one way or another. So that's our biggest issue, but we'll keep fighting as the board rolls on. So that'll conclude my report. We're gonna go on to minutes of Board of Education to approve, and our reader tonight is Mr. Singer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Be resolved that the minutes of the January 23rd, 2019 Board of Education regular meeting be adopted, and all action taken by the Board of Education at said meeting is hereby reaffirmed and approved.
Motion,
So
please.
moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Henning?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the financial statements of receipts and expenditures for the month of January 2019, including all purchase orders paid and all then and now statements for the month of January as submitted.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Henning?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into an agreement with the University of Akron and Kent State University to qualify students for College Credit Plus during the 2019-20 school year per the attachments.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Questions, comments, Dr. Glykoff?
Yeah, these are pretty standard agreements that school districts, you've approved it in the past, that we need to make with local universities to offer College Credit Plus. It should be noted that University of Akron is one that we have a very close connection with because they sponsor our courses that we have dual enrollment with here in the high school.
Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Henning?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby enters an agreement with PSI Affiliates Incorporated, PSI Associates Incorporated for Title I support service for the 2018-19 school year. Is it? Okay, school year per the attached contract, which is on file at the Treasurer's Office.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
These are actually funds that are flow-through funds. They're being used for Title I support for St. Thomas More. And so they're auxiliary dollars that we kind of house for them and then use out and pay for their staff.
Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll? I'm sorry.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Henning?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the overnight field trip to Europe, March 23rd through April 2nd, 2019.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why are we approving this now when I'm sure the parents have all had to pay for it in full already? What if the board said no? Why would we wait to the last minute right before they're leaving to approve it?
It's an oversight.
Okay.
You're right. But,
I'm just curious to know why we're.
but we also want to approve it, though. The importance is the fact that you, as a Board of Education, endorse it as a school. Because it is during the school year. We've had some of those discussions. They do it over spring break, so it minimizes the amount of takeaway from class, so.
Everybody else?
Good catch.
Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Henning?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby commends the following students per the attachment for honor roll and merit roll as noted.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good job. Anybody else? Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be it resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached memorandum of understanding agreement between the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education and the Brooklyn Education Association.
Have a motion, please?
moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, this is an MOU that is a one-year MOU for the school calendar, just for next year. What it does essentially is it takes a day of instruction and then makes that into an in-service day. What we are essentially, if you noticed before in our other school calendar, we took away those four of the late starts. So those days, those times are no longer there. We do have one at the very end of the school year, but we've essentially put that into an in-service day. That in-service day on the new calendar, which is my next resolution, is on Friday, February 14th, 2020. What it'll essentially become is a 4-day weekend for our parents and our kids, or I should say for our kids. And that Friday would be an in-service day. It's critical next year as we do some of the early literacy professional development to have this extra in-service day later in the school year, so.
Anybody else?
I'd like to say thank you, because I've heard so much from the parents about the late starts, and what an inconvenience it was for them. So as, you know, a board member, I'd like to say I appreciate the fact that we're changing the schedule around. Because for some people, they just did not have other means of transportation for their children to bring them in late. They were already at work or other situations, so thank you. It is appreciated.
Okay.
Good.
Anybody else?
Good point, Bonnie.
Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be it resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby amends resolution number 19-01-022 to revise the 2019-20 school calendars per attachment.
Can I have a motion,
So
please?
moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Pretty much what I just indicated, this is the change of the calendar. You'll
Okay.
notice February 14th, an in-service day.
All right. Anybody else? Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the applications for the following fundraising activity on file to Treasurer's Office, which is the prom committee. The event is Mallory's Chocolate Bar Sales, and the dates are February 20th through March 8th of 2019.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Bring some to the board meetings. I'm sure you could sell a bunch.
Hey.
It's the truth. I love Mally's. They're really good.
Everybody does.
Especially when I'm sick. Let me tell you, feed it cold.
With chocolate?
Yeah. Well, anything. Right?
Anybody else?
My 3-month streak is going. Get better than
Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll?
Step up in there and grab you some soup.
Bonnie?
this. Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached Brooklyn City Schools strategic plan per attachment per presentation.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
I think my superintendent's report
Reflected?
reflects that.
Good
All
job.
right, thank you.
A lot of progress being made. It's appreciated, Dr. Gleikoff. Yes. A lot of things.
Yep, I agree.
It's really been a
Mr.
positive.
Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the revised classified job description per the attachment, which is Secretary, Pupil Services, part-time.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
As Mr. Hoskin and I have been working on job descriptions, this has been one that we've been working with. It's important that we do this one now because we are posting this position. But really, there's very little substantive change to this. What we did is we wanted to make sure that the actual title of it matched what's in the contract. And so we found that. Plus, we also wanted to be very clear with the terms of employment. So those were the elements on it there.
Why, or do we have to go through the process again? Don't we have a civil service list for the first time when we hired for this position? Aren't we legally required to go off that list?
Well, good question, Mrs. Barczyk. We actually went back to the civil service because we got some concerns about how we hired that one. And I had some concerns about that. Civil service has actually give us advice, and through their legal counsel, of we should actually post it internally first. Follow the collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters. If in fact we do not find an applicant that is qualified through that process, then we would go to civil service and say we're going to need to exercise the civil service part of it. So,
Did we do that before? Or were we not allowed to do that before?
well, I don't know about allowed, but we were instructed otherwise from civil service to go through another process. So they've changed course.
I was just gonna say, why the change of course on their part? But they've given us legal,
Yes, yes. And our legal counsel.
do we have documentation of their legal
Yes.
recommendation?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I do have from the city
Okay.
on that.
Anything else? Mr. Hoskins, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
And Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves a temporary change of hours for Linda Prusak from custodial cleaner, 6 hours per day, Appendix B, Step 7, to custodial cleaner, 7 hours per day, Appendix B, Step 7, from February 1st, 2019 through to June 1st, 2019.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
The leave of the other person has been extended now through June 1st, so we're now extending that extra hour of cleaning through June 1st.
Okay. Mr. Hoskins, could you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be it resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2018-19 supplemental coaching assignments with the provision that such individuals comply with all Ohio High School Athletic Association rules and regulations and State Department of Education regulations pertaining to proper certification and/or first aid training and fulfills the requirements of the job description attached to their supplemental contracts. They are Jason Hubble, head varsity track coach; Kyle Akins, varsity assistant track coach; Jacqueline Field, middle school head track coach; Kevin Sedlasik, head varsity baseball coach; Tim Hanlon, varsity assistant baseball coach; Tim Bacha, JV basketball coach, 0.6 full-time equivalents; David Oldag, JV baseball coach, 0.4 full-time equivalent; Kristen Field, varsity assistant softball coach.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Spring sports is upon us.
I see that we have a assistant varsity softball coach, but our head varsity, because I've been asked and asked.
Mr. Verba is in the process of
Okay.
doing those.
Question too.
Yeah,
Right now.
That one.
okay. And do we have any kind of time frame on that since spring
He's
sports is
hoped,
upon
he
us?
actually had hoped for this.
ASAP.
Yeah,
he had hoped
let's
for
hope
this
so.
one. But he had hoped for this meeting, but
Okay.
just had wanted to find the right candidate.
Yes.
And I
can appreciate
respect
that.
his ability to really discern and try to find the correct person, so.
Because I knew that question was gonna be asked.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Mr. Hoskins,
It's
can you
already
call
been
the roll,
asked.
please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the change of classification and location for Anita Bruzek from accounting clerk to 6.5 hours per day, Appendix B, Step 7, to secretary/office support, 6.5 hours per day, Appendix B, Step 7, for the remainder of the 2018-2019 school year, effective February 19th of 2019.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments?
With the recent posting of the secretarial office support position in Brooklyn School, Ms. Bruzak applied for that, had the qualifications, and now this is the transfer of the one position to the other.
Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of Carla Lowery, classroom assistant, 4 hours per day, Appendix B, Step 2, effective February 11, 2019, for the remainder of the 2018-2019 school year.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments?
For 4-hour classroom assistant in one of our preschool classrooms, we had a recent resignation, and Carla is a new hire for that position.
Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the engagement of local government services, otherwise known as LGS, with the Auditor of State to prepare the GAAP financial statements for the fiscal years 2019 and 2020, not to exceed $10,000 each year.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Hoskins, would you like to comment?
This two-year contract aligns with the contract we have with our independent auditor, Charles Harris. They have 2 years left on that contract. At the end of the next 2 years, the auditor's office will evaluate whether they want to take back the audit, whether we continue as an independent auditor. So this just aligns those two contracts.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? Mr. Hoskins, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Be resolved that Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the engagement of Charles E. Harris and Associates Incorporated to prepare the agreed-upon procedures, AUP, for the Medicaid for Schools program for the fiscal 2018 year in the amount of $2,000.
Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Hoskins?
This AUP was performed by a different auditing company. Annually, they were charging us $3,400. I asked if I could get a quote from Charles Harris, they are independent auditors for our audit, and they came in at $2,000, so it's a $1,400 savings annually by agreeing to this contract.
Beautiful. Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes. You could do the last one for 7.
Be resolved that the minutes of the January 11th, 2019 Finance Committee meeting be accepted.
Have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
This process just puts those minutes into the
Board packet.
the board minutes to record that finance committee meeting.
Okay. Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes. Any correspondence related to action information? Anybody?
No.
Nothing? Any other business?
I have a question.
Go.
For Mr. Oper, us down at this end, since the renovations at Polaris are going on, and seriously, feet are cold, we want to know if we're going to have the board dinner this year. No?
No. I think it was
No.
2020 they said that the last time.
2020?
Damn, I won't be on it.
Okay.
You can be my date, Bob.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask Bob.
Yeah.
I'll ask Bob.
Maybe to see.
I get to come to
donuts.
one.
How would Pam feel about that, Rick?
Yeah.
Tossing it
She
at
won't
her.
care. We're
She won't
tight.
care.
Yeah.
We're boosters.
All right, announcement of the next regular board meeting, Wednesday, February 27th, 2019, in the Treasurers Conference Room located at the Board of Education offices, 9200 Bidoff, Brooklyn, Ohio, 6 p.m. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Hoskins, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Time is 7:35.